We are in live. Wait some time. Okay, let's start. Today we are going to talk about His Coy Mistress. It was written by Andrew Marvell. First we read poem lines and then author's description and then section by section poem summary. Ad be but world enough fun time. This coyness lady were no crime. We would sit down and think which way to talk and pass our long love day. Though by the Indian Ganga's side shoots rubies find, I by the tide of Humber would complain. I would love you 10 years before the flood, and you should, if you please, refuse till the conversion of the Jews. My vegetable love should grow vaster than empires and more slow, and 100 years should go to praise thin eyes and on the forehead gaze, 200 to adore each breast, but 30,000 to the rest, and age at least to every part, and the lost age should show your art. For lady, you deserve the state, nor would I love at lower rate, but at my back I always hear Time's winged chariot hurrying near, and yonder all before us lie. Deserts of vast eternity, thy beauty shall no more be found, nor in thy marble vault shall sound my echoing song, then worms shall try that long preserved virginity, and your quaint honor turn to dust, and into ashes all my lust. The graves a fine and private place, but none, I think, do there embarrass. Now, therefore, while the youthful hue sits on the skin like morning dew, and while thy willing soul transfers at every pore with instant fires, now let us sports us while we may, and now, like amorous birds of prey, rather at once our time doer than languish in his slow chapped power. Let us roll all our strength and all our sweetness up into one ball, and tear our pleasures with rough strife through the iron gates of life. Thus, though we cannot make our sun stand still, yet we will make him run. Now, we are going to talk about author's biography. Andrew Marvell, he written this poem, this beautiful poem. He was lived from 1621 to 1678. He was born in 1621 and died in 1678. He was a poet, satirist, statesman, and scholar. During his lifetime, his poems were not immensely popular, but they gained recognition later. Charles Lamb, who played an important role in the revival of Marvell's poetry in the 19th century. By the 20th century, Marvell came to be regarded as one of the most notable poets of his age, and he is now considered a leading poet of metaphysical school. Marvell's father was a clergyman, and Marvell had a promising academic career, which was interrupted by the untimely death of his father. He spent a few years abroad as a tutor and later returned to England, where he became the tutor of William Dutton, the ward of Oliver Cromwell. You know Oliver Cromwell, who he is? He is the protagonist leader. Subsequently, he worked as an assistant to John Milton, who was the Latin secretary in the Foreign Office at that time. Later, Marvell was elected as a member of parliament for Hull, a position he held until his death. He was known as a sincere and popular MP who worked for the welfare for his people. After the restoration of Charles II, Marvell began writing political verse, satires, and pamphlets. His tone grew bitter as he criticized contemporary political developments. An interesting remark about his transformations appear on the Poetry Foundation website. The beautiful lines are: it is as if the most delicate and elusive of butterflies somehow metamorphed into a caterpillar. This metaphor captures Marvell's shift from a lyrical poet to a sharp political satirist. Marvell is also believed to have interceded on behalf of John Milton when Milton was imprisoned after the Restoration. Some of Marvell's famous poems include The Garden, a Horatian ode upon Cromwell's return from Ireland, and To His Coy Mistress, which is widely regarded as his masterpiece. These poems are the masterpiece of Andrew Marvell. Okay, now let's talk about this beautiful poem. To His Coy Mistress is a poem of 46 lines. It was published in 1681. In the folio, in the folio edition, miscellaneous poems 3 years after Marvell's death. The central theme of the poem is the conflict between love and time. The lovers are constantly threatened by the shift passage of time, and the poet argues the beloved to seize moment of pleasure before time destroys youth and beauty. This theme is conventional in Elizabethan and metaphysical poetry. The poem is also a classic example of the carpe diem. Do you know what is carpe diem? Carpe diem means seize the day. What work you scheduled, what kind of work you done is today, this hour itself. That is the meaning of this word. The carpe diem theme derived from Latin phrase carpe diem quam minimum credula postrio. It was used by the Roman poet Horace. It meaning seize the day, trust the future as a little possible. The idea is that one must enjoy the present moment because the future is uncertain. The future is uncertain only. Typically, in carpe diem poems, we find a coy, reluctant woman restrained by modesty and social norms. An impatient male speaker, acutely aware of time and mortality. imagery of youth, beauty, decay, and death. Along with pleasure, there is also a poignant awareness of mortality, which adds sadness and urgency to the poem. Now, next we talk about structure of the poem. The poem is structured as a syllogistic argument with three parts. One is hypothesis. That means if there were enough time, if there were enough time. Second one, antithesis or explanation. It means but time is running out. Yeah, it's going. Hurry up, hurry up. What is this? Third one is conclusion. That means therefore seize the moment. Now we are going to talk about explanation of poem. First section, hypothesis. Hypothesis means if there were enough time. The poem opens with had we but whirled enough on time, this coyness, lady, were no crime. Coyness means shy. He tells to his beloved, don't coin us. We have, if we have time, your coyness is enough. Yeah. The speaker tells his beloved that if they had unlimited time, her reluctance would not matter. He imagines a legendary courtship spanning centuries. He uses a hyperbolic imagery. The lady wandering by the river Gangas in India, while he waits by the river Humber in England. Here, India, where England? He claims he would love her 10 years before the flood, referring to the biblical deluge, and wait until the conversion of the Jews. Do you know? Jews are not converted and even believed to occur at the end of time. Is vegetable love a metaphor for physical desire would grow slowly and enormously, vaster than empires? He exaggerates further, saying he would spend 100 years praising her eyes. Her eyes are so beautiful. So, 100 years is not enough to praising her eyes. 200 years adoring each breast. 30,000 years admiring the rest of the body. And finally, an age to praise her heart. This section reflects idealized, impossible love built on imagination and exaggeration. Second section, reality of time and death. The tone shifts abruptly, but at my back I always hear time's winged chariot hurrying near. Time is personified as a winged chariot, relentlessly pursuing the lovers. Ahead lies the desert of vast eternity, a bleak image of death and nothingness. Time is going on. The speaker warns that beauty will fade, passion will die, and worms will consume the body in the grave. The marble values symbolize the tomb where no love or pleasure exist. The grave's a fine and private place, but none, I think, do there embarrass. This section uses fear, decay, and mortality to emotionally pleasure the beloved. Third section, carpe diem conclusion. In the final section, the speaker argues immediate action. Now, therefore, while the youthful hue sits on thy skin like a morning dew, youth is compared to the morning dew, fresh but fleeting. Since both lovers are passionate now, they must act before time destroys them. He uses violet imagery. amorous birds of prey, to suggest devouring time rather than being devoured by it. Though they cannot stop the sun, they can make him run by living intensely. The lines, pleasures with rough strife through the iron gates of life, have attracted much critical attention. Some critics interpret these lines are carrying a sexual innuendo, it suggesting that they metaphorically refer to the act of sexual union. The praise and gates of life can be seen as symbolizing social restraints, moral barriers, or even the female body itself, which the speaker argues is below to cross boldly. Thus, the language becomes charged with both violence and passion, it reinforcing the urgency of physical love. The concluding couplet of some poem is particularly significant. Thus, though we cannot make our son stand still, yet we will make him run. Therefore, the speaker admits a fundamental truth: human beings do not possess the power to arrest time. The sun, which symbolizes time, follows its inevitable course, rising, moving across the sky, and setting, only to rise again the day. Time never truly stops, not even during the night, since it is impossible to halt its projection. The speaker proposes an alternative strategy to challenge time by living intensely, by saying, "We will make him run." The speaker suggests that although they cannot stop time, they can outpace it emotionally and experientially. Life becomes a race, not one that can be won permanently, but one in which meaning can be created through passionate living. Rather than surrendering passively to time, the lovers must actively seize every available moment. The past is irretrievably lost, and future sketches ahead into a unknowable and vast eternity. The only time truly available to human beings is the present moment. Therefore, the speaker argues is beloved not to languish or waste precious time, but to embrace love and pleasure while youth and desire still endure. As mentioned earlier, the poem is structured as a perfectly logical syllogistic argument. It begins with a hypothetical situation. First line, had we but world enough and time. This means moves to a realistic confrontation with mortality and decay, and finally arrives at a compelling conclusion. By the time the reader reaches the end of the poem, the speaker's reasoning appears flawless, constructed, and intellectually persuasive. To his coy mistress is thus a meticulously designed carpe diem poem, combining wit, imagery, logic, and emotional urgency. It never fails to engage readers or convince them of the inevitability of time and the necessity of seizing the present moment. This poem stands as a lasting testimony to the greatness of Andrew Marvell as a metaphysical poet and continues to speak powerfully to readers across generations. Through exaggeration, irony, and persuasive argument, Marvell presents the carpe diem philosophy. arguing the beloved to embrace love and physical pleasure before time and death render everything meaningless. Now, we done this poem. I hope you are all found this video helpful. You again read these lines, these poem lines. This is your work. You read these lines. This is beautiful and simple poem. The main theme is carpe diem. Carpe diem means seize the day. And here koi means shy. Okay. You read these poem lines. And if you like this video, click like button and share this video to your friends. Comment your thoughts. Please comment your thoughts. And next, what kind of video you need, you simply type in comment section. And I'm also eagerly waiting to read your comments. Okay. Finally, don't forget to subscribe my channel. This is Gauri from Intellectual Literature. Stay tuned. Thank you.